Well, if you've been living under a rock, you may have missed the news that Rajasthan Royals have opened up an academy right here in the United Arab Emirates. Of course, the Indian Premier League. It's been a home away from home over the course of the past 8 weeks or so. And to discuss this new academy and this new project in a little bit more detail, delighted to be joined by Will Kitchen. He is Managing Director of RedBear Sports. Will, good morning to you.
Morning.
And Graeme Cremer, he is the former Zimbabwe captain. He is also the performance director at this brand new academy for the Rajasthan Royals. Good morning to you, Graeme.
Morning, Chris.
Lovely to have you with us. And last but by no means least, a man that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce into the conversation. His name is Tom Burwell. He is the general manager of the Dubai Sevens, which is the location of the academy. And we say a very good morning to you as well, Tom.
Morning, mate. So it's the Sevens Stadium this time, not the Dubai Sevens, just for clarity.
Okay, that's important. Stadium. Important.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, we'll start, in actual fact, let's start with you then, Tom. Sevens Stadium, that is the location for this new academy. Give us a kind of overview, if you can, of how this will fit in with your overall portfolio and the plans that you've got for the Sevens Stadium.
I think it's really important, first of all, to say thank you to the Rajasthan Royals and the Rajasthan Royals Academy to engaging with us over the past 6 months. Ultimately, many people will be seeing our facility once a year, right? Which is 8 amazing rugby fields, it's 4 netball courts, but on the other side of the road, we also have 3 wonderful grass ovals and 3 subcut ovals. And ultimately, it's about the community engaging and using that facility across the board, across different demographics. And it's a world-class facility. And it's an opportunity for us to engage with a world-class brand and a world-class organisation that have got engagements like this all over the world to drive more people to use both our facility, but ultimately to engage in more people with the opportunity to play cricket on some fabulous ovals.
Well, let's come to you then, Will, because it is pretty impressive. The Rajasthan Royals Academy right here in Dubai. Give us an overview. How did this collaboration come about?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the Royals, I guess, for people that follow the IPL at that level where they're really, really interested in the sort of cricket and the technical piece, which is, I guess, where I would class myself, that sort of real nerdy, geeky level. Are pretty well known, I guess, as one of the franchises that have done things a little bit differently over the years. I know if you sort of Google or have a look at Royals Wikipedia, the sort of Moneyball in inverted commas phrase returns quite frequently within that. I've known Zubin Barusha, who's the director of cricket at Rajasthan Royals, for a long time, since I've worked for England cricket, in fact, and they've had a long history of doing interesting stuff in the sort of player development space. They have a big academy in Nagpur that's been there for almost 15 years now. And I guess our experience of having been in the UAE for I guess almost a decade now was that there are a number of different opportunities for children to get involved in cricket, and there are a number of fantastic facilities. We still believe that the potential of UAE cricket is probably far in excess of what is already an incredibly popular sport here, and a sport that lots of people get an unbelievable opportunity to play on in great facilities. So our relationship with Royals is twofold really, and came about for really on the basis that, from an IPL perspective, this region, the UAE. And the GCC, probably at the next level up, is really interesting to the IPL teams, because they know there's a lot of cricket fans who are based here. And as we've seen this year and over the last 10, 15 years, there's been an enormous amount of international cricket played here. So from the Royals' perspective, they're very, very interested in this region, because they know that there's lots of people who potentially will follow and engage with the Royals. From our perspective, our personal perspective, we believe that with interesting ideas about how you develop players and how you actually help people to fall in love with the game. And this isn't necessarily about people that want to play professional cricket, although there's obviously that opportunity, but just for people that actually want to play cricket on a regular basis and enjoy the sport. We know that Royals have something different to offer in that space, and they've got a rich history of having done so. And we spoke to Sanju the other day, who talked about the impact that the Royals have had on his development. He's now playing in cricket for India this winter. But at the same time, we knew that the opportunity here to engage with the thousands of kids that play cricket here and give them the opportunity to come to these incredible venues still existed. But we also recognised it was a really crowded marketplace. There were a lot of cricket academies here. There's some very, very well-established cricket academies. There's some people doing stuff brilliantly here. So we knew that if we wanted to do something in that player development space, we had to do something different, and we had to do something that would inspire people and give people a sense that there was maybe a different opportunity by being involved with us that there might be elsewhere. And I think that that's what we've done by firstly collaborating with an IPL franchise who genuinely do things differently and really develop players well, but also I guess partnering with the Sevens venue. The Seven, as Tom talked about, it's one of the best cricket facilities on earth. There's no doubt about that. And I guess in Tom's position, he's unfortunate to be within 20 kilometres of probably 3 or 4 of the other best cricket facilities on earth. But our view was that we had to deliver high quality programming, but also in an environment that was really, really inspiring. And that's what we have here. And so the opportunity for us to be able to deliver really high quality IPL 2020 themed content that's gold standard for us. But to do it in an environment like this, where we know people come here and are just inspired to want to play the game, that's such an important aspect of it. That was why we ended up in the position where we are, where we've launched the Royals Academy. You've seen over the last couple of weeks a number of our owners and ex-players being part of this. There's a real belief at Royals HQ that we can help to develop the game globally, and that's why we have academies. We're about development. We're about helping people to fall in love with the game of cricket. But we also do want to be able to make sure that people in the UAE know that there is an opportunity and we have a route into the IPL, and that Moneyball theme then comes back around and actually becomes something that's real. Because if we do have talent, what it is that we do here, the way in which we scout and identify and recruit talent, we're looking, and Royals are looking. And if there's an opportunity for us to find a player in the UAE and take him through to the IPL via Nagpur, fantastic, let's do it. So that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, no pressure for you then, Graeme, and I will come to you because, as Will has eloquently put it there, Rajasthan Royals, they do have a reputation of doing things differently, and I guess that's where it kind of falls on your shoulders, because perhaps give us an overview from your perspective of what we can expect to see from a coaching standpoint. How will you implement those ideologies that the Rajasthan Royals have become known for on the field of play?
Yeah, so first of all, an honor to be part of the setup and to be put in the role of director of the academy and the program. I mean, it's been amazing for me. It's been something new. But just looking at the program and thinking back on when I played, I'd be thinking 100%. I wish I had done, most of this program when I played. So, credit to the Royals and Dougie who put the program together. And the nice thing is we can see it works because the kids leave after every session and they've loved it. And, we can see an improvement even, with the kids that have only been there 2-3 weeks. It's astonishing how quickly they get the concepts, and it's for us to put it across to them and they take it on board, and it's been good to see such an improvement so quickly. So the 15-week program, looking forward to see where the kids will be at the end of that.
Can I ask as well, Graeme, just on the kids? I mean, whatever sport it is, we are blessed with incredible facilities, some incredible coaches, whether it's cricket, football, I know rugby in this part of the world, and due to Tom and the work that the Seven Stadium do with rugby in particular, is a booming sport at grassroots level. From a cricketing standpoint, and an honest answer required here, is the talent pool here, is it just about nurturing it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have like Tom said, we have the facility, and I mean, it's not only this facility, there's great facilities in Dubai, and the talent we've seen, even 10-year-old kids, some of them, I wasn't that good when I was 10 years old. So the talent we have here and the amount of kids that love the game and are passionate about it, there's no reason why kids here can't go on to play IPL and play for their respective countries, as well as the UAE.
Tom, can I ask you as well, the Rajasthan Royals initiative, let's call it that, if you will, only the second, I believe, anywhere in the world after the UK and Surrey. That was where they opened up their first one. How important is it for people like Will, for Graeme, for Dougie, to come to you with these ideas? Because, of course, at the end of the day, you're overseeing the Seven Stadium. Your remit is a lot different to what Will's and to what Graeme's is. But initiatives like this, the door always remains open to ideas like this for you.
Yeah, and I think whilst one, we are a facility, first and foremost, we are a facility who have a approach now to engage with all of community, and through doing that in sort of two ways really, and that's both trying to engage with the youth and even those who are already playing to aspire for more. And that aspiration can be to aspire for performance level sport, or that can be to aspire for the sport to be a vehicle for further or higher education. And equally, we have a role to play, which is to inspire the future as well, which is that, you know, aspirations don't just happen without being inspired first. And here at the facility, everything that we do needs to be of the very, very highest standard. And now that standard doesn't necessarily seep down to you have to be the highest standard rugby player, cricketer, netballer. That just means that when you walk into this facility, the coaching that you're going to get, the facilities that you're going to be involved with, the major sporting opportunities, the content that we're going to say, it is going to be like, okay, this is fitting to what I believe is, and whilst I totally acknowledge that there are some fantastic cricket facilities here in Dubai, when you look at us as a multi-sport facility, this is the best multi-sport facility in West Asia. And to say that, we also then to ensure that the content that is taking place at this facility lives up to that as well. And that's why, you know, we're very much engaged with not just the Rajasthan Royals and them thinking outside of the box and all of the things that come with wider IPL engagement, but ultimately people like Will and people like Dougie who are saying, you know, this is about, you know, doing it slightly differently, and this is about engaging people in a different way, and that's a really important thing for us. We're not just a facility. We wouldn't do this with just anyone. We want people to come with us with really creative ideas so that we can deliver that for the community.
I guess the obvious question from that then for you, Will, is, you know, Tom talks there about the highest level and only wanting to associate with people doing it proper. Give us a little insight, if you can, into this collaboration with the Rajasthan Royals, because, and again, naming no names, we have seen an awful lot of entities. I've been here now a decade. A lot of people will slap the sticker on it and say, hey, this is who we are. How much two-way conversation will there be between you guys here on the ground in Dubai and the Rajasthan Royals team back home in India?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably two sides to that. I think there's as I said to you, the relationship that on a personal level I have, and that's across a number of different professional roles, and Zubin, who's effectively the sort of the godfather of how Royals play their cricket, is a long-standing one and a personal one. So philosophically, he and I are very much aligned in terms of how you develop players, how you give people experiences that means that they want to learn, how you identify, develop players. And I think that both of us have a very clear and shared view of what it looks like when it's done really well. So what does good look like at the top level? I've been very fortunate to spend almost 20 years working sort of sports development and elite sport, particularly in the sort of player development and talent identification space. So that's kind of that's my professional vocation. So my work and our work with Zubin is you know, we work hand in glove together, because firstly we share a philosophy and an ideology about how you develop players. We also are passionate about the fact that you can be high performing without needing to be high performance. So the provision of service that we give to people, it isn't necessarily about trying to find IPL players here. We think that if we've got somebody who's got the opportunity to do that, then what we'll do is equip them with the skills and the experiences to progress through. But a high performing program can be for anyone. And so Tom described a set of experiences that represent the highest quality possible. That's what we're about here. We're about making sure that the programs, the experiences, the way in which people have the opportunity to develop themselves is of the best possible standard. And so our ideology is about making sure that people have a really, really clear idea about what good looks like at the top level, and then taking that taking that to pieces and challenging them to actually work towards that model of best practice. And that's all wrapped up in the context of 20 overs and T20 cricket. And it's very fair to say that I think young people who are starting to play the game now, I don't suspect, whilst there's a lot of people that are still very, very interested in Test cricket, it's very fair to say that young people that now are joining our academy and wanting to play cricket are trying to emulate the guys that they see on TV, right? So they want to understand how to hit the ball out of the park. They want to understand how to bowl a 92-mile-an-hour Yorker like Jofra Archer. They want to understand how to ramp it and hit the ball around the park. All of those things are incredibly important components of being successful at the elite level. They also happen to be really, really exciting things to learn how to do. But you don't learn that stuff by chance. You have to make a concerted effort to help kids to understand when to do that stuff, how to do it, and then structure the coaching sessions that we run on a daily basis in such a way that it becomes a fun, engaging challenge and something that they can aspire to wanting to do. So, Josh Buttler and his ability to be able to hit the ball almost anywhere, there's part of that which is God-given, but there's part of that which is this guy's done a lot of work for 15 years to be able to do that. We've been part of that journey, so we understand what it takes to be able to do that stuff. So what our programs are about is identifying those things, creating interesting, challenging, enjoyable sessions that are built around helping people to acquire those skills, and then putting pressure on that in games. And hopefully there's a balance between enjoyment, challenge, and also something that's innovative and interesting. We're not in a space anymore in cricket where people are standing there listening to a coach, hitting balls back and learning to play defensively perhaps before they learn to middle the ball. That sensation of middling the ball, taking that catch, bowling somebody out, that's why people play the game. It's the bit that keeps people coming back. So I guess I can very, very confidently say that that's a shared philosophy with Royals HQ, and our job is to help unlock that understanding of what it takes at the top level in the IPL, and actually then disseminate that across the academies that we have in play at the moment and the ones that we'll be launching over the next 4 or 5 years. So we're integral to that process.
Chris, just quickly on that, doesn't it sound a little bit like Rugby Sevens, right? Which is, hey, exciting, find and capture away, put it under different pressure and under different fatigues. If you can play the game under high stress and high speed, high fatigue and sevens, you can probably do it on the 15-a-side field. And I think universally we're now seeing the impact of 2020 on the test match arena. If that is a opportunity for people to enter the sport, so that's a 7-year-old who's inspired because they aspire to be somebody in the IPL, and then they go through that journey and they end up in a test match arena, how those entry points work is no different to how we find the next Dan Norton or the next Tom Mitchell. And I feel here as a facility, hearing those things is where we begin to see the synergies between those two sports.
Yeah, I just wonder on that. Let me pick up on that then, Tom. Obviously, you made the comparison, and it's very much a comparison that is there between the Rugby Sevens and T20 cricket. It is a launch pad, if you will. Is that part of your strategy then? Are you looking at not necessarily new sports, but perhaps new forms of sports where it very much is with grassroots in mind, as opposed to the top of the pyramid and looking at the kind of elite sports that are already finished? If that makes sense.
Jeremy Paxman, the interviewer, right? We are looking at engaging, using our big event in December. Does that always have to be rugby and netball? The answer is no. In our netball organisation at the moment, we have 80 teams from around the world coming in and playing in a mass participation competition that are engaged then with the sevens. We think that there is every opportunity that in 2021 you will see a cricket sevens of some form here alongside our cornerstone clients in this region to use our facility alongside that. So again, go back to Aspire, Inspire. If the things that the guys are doing is giving more opportunity for people to play, if we're then able to create some form of major event at the end of that, which you aspire to be involved with, connecting all of those circles back up.
That's interesting, and I'll maybe come back to that in just a few minutes, Tom. I want to get your thoughts on one thing, Graeme. We talk about the Rajasthan Royals. We talk about the Seven Stadium being open to all. It's very much inclusive. I wonder, from a coaching standpoint, you've got people at different levels, different ages. How do you set about a programme ensuring that the elite boys and girls, the kids that perhaps have a genuine chance of going on and making a professional career in cricket. How do you balance that with the youngsters who just want to get a hit and a ball and a run around? And, you know, how do you balance that as a coach?
Yeah, so I mean, we obviously have the different age groups. So, I mean, all the kids from the same age are in the same group. But the way the program is structured, like, it's very enjoyable and everyone wants to learn a new skill. Doesn't matter who it is, you know, and we have different skill levels between the kids. And I mean, like, there's so many drills and stuff that we do that, like, you can bring it back a bit or advance it. So, I mean, you know, just depending on each kid's skill. So I mean, that's the way the program's designed, and, you know, it seemed to have worked well so far. And as long as we can see the kids smiling and improving after each session, you know, that's what we look for.
Can I ask, Will, you said that your background, or one element, one component of your background, has been talent identification. Putting you on the spot a little here, is that part of the Rajasthan Royals Academy remit? Are you and Dougie and the rest of your team, are you out there? Are you approaching kids who you think have got the minerals to perhaps go on? And perhaps is there even any, not pressure per se, but is that part of your KPI from a Rajasthan Royal perspective that, hey, listen, if there is a good kid and someone who shows real potential of making it professional, we want them associated with the Rajasthan Royals brand?
Good question. We're certainly not in the space where we're approaching players. We're in the business of creating opportunities, and I guess the message that we want people to understand is that we have an opportunity here, and there is an opportunity. And, you know, if you're a young player in India, you're a young player in the Middle East now, and you aspire to want to play in what's, you know, by some distance, the world's best, probably not even necessarily the best cricket event, but it's one of the most vibrant, well-known and high-profile sporting events on earth now, the IPL, then we have that opportunity here, and we have a real belief in what it is that we do. You know, for players to work with somebody of Graeme's calibre, who's, you know, 2.5 years ago, you know, was playing international cricket, has a real passion for the game, has a real understanding of what it takes to go transition out of grassroots sport and into elite sport. We have that opportunity, and what we know is that we have programs that will, and I can demonstrate that because I can point to players that started at 18 years of age at Rajasthan Royals and are now making their debut for India or playing once more for India, right? We know that what we can do in terms of how we structure the development of our players, we can take people on that journey. So no, we're not out there seeking and approaching players on the basis that we want them to find their way back into the IPL. But absolutely, if there are players out there who have potential, we would love to welcome them in, because we know that we have an opportunity that might help them realise that potential. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, it makes sense. Absolutely, it does. And Graeme, on that point then, and I'll come back to you on this, because as Will rightly points out, you just hang up your bat 2.5 and helmet 2.5 years ago, for goodness sake. So you're in a prime position to know what a modern day cricketer looks like. And I do wonder, how do you assess how cricket and players themselves have changed? What is perhaps more important today than it wasn't, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago in the sport of cricket?
I would say probably the pace of the game has changed. You know, it's not only just being able to bat or being able to bowl. Like, you need to be an asset in all three parts of the game. You need to be a great fielder. You need to, I mean, especially in T20, like, whereas fast bowlers used to stop the ball with the boot on the boundary. I mean, that's gone. We have fast bowlers fielding a gully now, which was unheard of back then. So, I mean, it's just the pace of the game, and, you know, there's so much competition around the world that you can't only do one thing. So, I mean, it's just like improving as a cricketer in all facets of the game, you know, where even if you bat at number 11, you still need to possibly score 10 runs to win a game for your team, and not leave it up to the batsman the whole time. So just the pace of the game, I think, has changed. And, you know, everyone, like I say, has to be like good in all three parts of the game in order to get recognized.
And I'll come back to the word inclusion if I can, because, and Will, and this is probably one for you, Will, and I'll get you to elaborate if you can, Tom. You talk about as well bringing the best age group players together. I know that's something in particular that you guys are strong about as well, perhaps creating opportunities to bring people. I know we're living in a pandemic. Travel at the moment is, well, it's a bit difficult, but long term is the plan to make Dubai and the Seven Stadium a real hub for top quality competition as well?
I mean, certainly from our perspective, a key part of our decision making was to enable us to be based at strategically and also at a facility level in a location that enabled us to connect with other organisations that are doing similar things to us, whether that be state sides, county cricket clubs, other IPL franchises, CPL franchises, and create a forum and an opportunity for age group players, and that's age group players that are maybe on that elite pathway, or perhaps in more developmental programs, to come together and play cricket here. I think that, and this is my experience and my opinion only, there's a lot of time spent in cricket where people are in training environments and spending hours and hours and hours developing technical skills, and that's certainly useful and has value. But ultimately, if you want to play and enjoy the game, sampling winning is fundamental to that. That's whether you're playing on a Sunday afternoon at your local village club, or whether you're somebody who aspires to play in the IPL. You need to learn how to win the game. And competing and playing in games and playing against different people, one of cricket's great virtues is the fact that you spend a lot of time together with your pals and you meet people from all over the world. We want to make sure that that's part of the opportunity that we're offering here. Competition is fundamental to that. So people playing frequently, taking the concepts that Graeme and the guys are working on, applying them in games, having a go at them, experiencing different things, learning and then playing again is absolutely fundamental to that. I'll let Tom talk about how that fits into his strategy, but certainly from our perspective, enabling other academies, enabling international academies, enabling our growing network of Royals academies in their own right to come here, compete, play, share, socialise. That's a really important part of what we're doing.
Yeah, and let's go to you, Tom, if you can. You'll obviously play a part in that. You will help facilitate that. But you've already alluded to it, that you are looking at new possibilities, new opportunities with the Seven Stadium at the core. Cricket and an event like that, whereby academies from all over the world are coming in, not too dissimilar to the rugby festival, the youth rugby festival that HSBC do on your location as well. Is that something that is really important to you?
Yeah, I think just to touch on that, I think one of the things that rugby and cricket have in common is that we have a global game, and in each of the corners of that sort of global game, the sport is played in a different way. So if we look at the rugby sevens field, the South Africans are amazing at breakdown. Fijians are throwing offloads all over the place. You talk about going and playing in India and the ball's spinning all over the place. You see it's an overcast day and Brody and Anderson are swinging the ball all over, right? The sport is different, but you only know that if you get the opportunity to play with that. And that can't be, as you say, in the nets in the same place all the time. So it doesn't matter what sport you're in here, driving multicultural, multi-international sports, whether that be at entry level, under 10, under 11, under 12, whether that be at developmental level in the middle bracket, or whether that be at some form of performance post-18, they are integral for the development of that sport. We have a program starting in February where a very, not similar, but a rugby program, which is engaging people from all over the world. And here with cricket, we see ourselves as an opportunity here in Dubai, halfway around the world, with people to be able to get onto aeroplanes. Aeroplanes is key to this, remember. Aeroplanes and be here as you say, as a hub, and whether that hub is at another point during the year when the weather allows and we have multiple academies or schools coming and stopping here, or and they're able to play quality opposition against the Royals, or whether that is a development of the Dubai Sevens cricket and opportunities for local and international teams to engage with one another on and off the wicket, that is clearly a huge part of developing future talent, whether that is to perform or to be the highest performing person you can be.
Tom, I'm conscious that you need to pop off. You've got another engagement, so I'm going to let you do that, Tom. If Graeme and Will don't mind staying on, I've got about another 5 minutes with you guys, and I've got a couple more questions. So, Tom, listen, thank you for spending time.
Chaps, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Here's Tom Burwell there. He is the GM of the Sevens Stadium. He's also tournament director of the Dubai Sevens. I've got to get that right, or he'll shoot me for that. And listen, Graeme, I want to come back to you here, just continuing that thread and that theme if we can. You've been there, you've seen it, you've done it in a lot of ways. The guys there talk about the different age groups and being able, and I guess exposing yourself to different talents, different cultures, different ways of playing the game. From a player perspective, just how crucial is that to one's development?
Yeah, definitely. And that's where academies come in all around the world. And like Will mentioned, it's just giving people the opportunity to be involved in a program, to be involved in a structured program. You know, I mean, like playing with other kids, you know, kids are always measuring themselves against, you know, their counterparts, which makes it fun, gives them that competitiveness that you need moving forward. So really, that's what the program is designed to do, and you know, kids buy into that. They love the competitive side of it, and that's what you need in order to succeed: a passion for the game and wanting to get better, as well as, you know, wanting to be competitive, even if you're playing against your best mate, or, you know, bowling to your best mate in the nets. Like, there's always that competitiveness, and that's